Another type of malicious software would be through web application. Okay, so hence is web security. So first, let's look at the type of web documents you will get when you visit a web server. In general, a web document could be classified as the following three categories. The first one is static. The second is dynamic. The third is active. The major differences from the security point of view is that static documents are safe because these documents don't have any executable codes in it, so they are safe. Dynamic documents are executed on the server side, so they are from the user point of view, it's safe, but from the server side, it may not be safe. Okay, so these documents are so these web documents contain executable codes. Okay, but these executable codes will need to be executed at the server side. Okay, through CGI, this is Common Gateway Interface. So once the executable codes are executed, it gets updated values to put into a web document. So it's a dynamic document, and that document will be then downloaded to the client side. So from the client point of view, such document is safe. But as I said, because so this dynamic document will be executed at the server side if the server, if an attacker tricks the server to run some files it doesn't want to run, then it could be then there will be security concerns. Okay, but from the client point of view, it's okay. It's safe. The last one is an active document. That is not safe, okay, from the client's point of view, because these documents are executable and they will be executed on the client side. Okay, so it will be downloaded and then it will be executed on the local machine. For instance, Java applets are such documents. So it is an executable. Okay, Java applet is first compiled into assembly for Java virtual machine. So when you download an applet, Java applet, you download that executable to your local machine. And then when you run it, that assembly code for Java virtual machine will be then converted to machine code for your local machines. Hence, you run that program. Of course, now you should know it is really, really not good from the security point of view, but it is good from the application point of view, because that makes applications more convenient. Okay, so that means if you have to use to run Java applets, you make sure you run it, you download Java applets from trusted site. Okay, so again, this slide is is on security of web documents. So we already talked about these. Now let me just go over these points, these bullets again. So we separate security of web documents into two parts. One is for the server side security. The other one is client side security. So for the server side, it may be, for instance, if you run dynamic documents, then it may be attacked by exploiting loopholes in dynamic documents and web server programs. Okay, the security measures would be to update to newest version of web server programs, manage rigorously CGI programs and their directories. Only designated person can post CGI at web server. Okay, so this is for the on the server side, because the security concerns come from dynamic documents that are executed at the server side. On the client side, again, it is the active programs that would cause security concerns. So it may be attacked by exploiting loopholes in active documents and web browser programs. And actually, if you download an applet, okay, so from a website, so that is just executable. So it's just equivalent to downloading an executable, but of course, Java virtual machine has its own security measures, but it's still it is still similar to downloading a executable and run it on your machine. It's like a Trojan horse, right? So it's just not good. And the security measure would be to install browser patches and don't run it. Disable JavaScript or browser, disable Java applets or browser, but sometimes you have to run them because they are useful, okay? They are useful applications. You have to run them. So in that case, then you need to make sure you run them from trusted sites. Another issues when using webs is cookies. So web browser is stateless. Okay, so you connect to a particular web server and then you connect to the next, and then they don't. So so the history is not stored. However, if you, for instance, you visit a site, you put in your credential so that you are allowed to get into a particular web server, and then you open up a subpage of that web server, and you don't want to putting in your credential, such as the passwords again. So then this web server needs, the web browser needs to keep needs to maintain that piece of information, and that is done by cookies. Okay, so in a sense, a cookie, you may think of a cookie as a server ticket that we talk about in Kerberos. Okay, so cookies. A cookie stores the user information, and passes it to the user's browser. And then the browser sends the cookie along with the user's request for visiting subsequent pages. Then you can avoid retyping your passwords. Okay, the server here must ensure that cookies are not used for malicious purposes. And from the client point of view, at the client side, you should remove store cookies frequently. Okay, so you don't want unused cookies lingering around. Okay, just need to clean up. Okay, and the next type of malicious software is spyware. So, so malicious software installed as a plugin in web browser without user's content. Okay, that could be a spyware, which may collect information, users' information, and send it to the attacker, or send it to some companies, and monitor users' web serving activities and pop up an advertisement. I think this has been done all the time, even by legitimate companies. It could modify default settings of browsers and redirect the browser to a certain web page. Okay, so that looks like your browser has been hijacked. So the countermeasures of spyware, you set up a firewall to prevent attackers from embedding spyware. Install software patches in time, install anti-spyware software. Okay. Yet another kind, which is not as obvious when you serving the website, serving the web, is AJAX security. Okay, it is an asynchronous JavaScript and XML, and AJAX achieves asynchronous interaction to make smooth surfing, such as Google Maps. So you just need to point your you just point, so you move. So anywhere you move, you opens up a new web service. Okay, so without really knowing. So that's the bad part, right? If you visit a web page, then there are certain links, you have to click it in order to go to that particular link. But with AJAX technology, you just move your pointers, okay? Move your mouse, okay? And then you open up. So when this move, for instance, if it's a AJAX technology, when I move like this, then probably along the way, I have already opened up a lot of web servers, and which is not good because some of the things you don't know what you are opening. Okay, so you need to be cautious for using such using such technology. Countermeasures for web serving. Okay. So number one is always important. You only download software from trusted websites. Okay. Do not click any button on a pop-up window, because this pop-up window may be harmful. And then you should read privacy statements, license statements, and security warnings to find out the risks you may take if you install and run the software. Do not visit other sites with different addresses from the password protected site. Do not visit suspicious websites. Okay, the most important thing here is that don't download software from sites you don't know. Okay, only download software from trusted sites. Okay, so let me stop here for this video.